The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read. Your source for news, politics, sports, and all things trending. Here's your host, Marcus Gentry.
In a moment, we will examine the closest experimentation to brainwashing that we have uncovered. It was here that the CIA funded a series of experiments, severe experiments. The work was done by the Institute's then director, Dr. Ewan Cameron. It is the closest experimentation to brainwashing yet disclosed. His work, unprecedented in psychiatry, consisted of three areas which he called sleep therapy, psychic driving, and the ultimate depatterning.
Emasculate men even mean? Well, I never heard the term until I became a dating coach. So what exactly is it? Well, back in more barbaric times, back in the day, emasculation had a whole different meaning. It meant castration, and it was used as a punishment for men. But that's not what we're talking about here. It's more of a metaphor. And so the Urban Dictionary describes emasculation as the removal of a male ego, pride, and empowerment.
And welcome to the Daily Read, and I am your host, Marcus Gentry. Today we're going to have a good topic. We're going to talk about how black men in this country, since back in slavery days, have been emasculated, starting with white people. Today, the whites they still do it in a sense, but they've backed off of it because it's been taken up by the black community. The black woman, has been placed at the head of our households, and there's an ongoing threat of masculine men in the black communities that's going around now. I just recently been involved with I'm going to call it a situation at my workplace. We're not going to use, I'm going to give a quick disclaimer. There won't be no names used in this video because I'm going to protect the identities of anybody that I talk about. I'm going to protect the identity of them on my show. We're not going to do that. But I've experimented on two people, and actually one person. She came back again. She was a narcissist, and I had to cut the experiment short the second time when she came back a year later, because she was about to get rid of this guy, because they have a cycle that they do, these narcissistic people. The cycle is they love bomb you, they discard you, they hoover their way back into your life, and then the whole cycle starts all over again with the gaslighting, and then they discard you again. So the situation with that experiment, the guy felt like he was finna get cut loose, so he called my phone, and I can hear her in the background screaming because she didn't want him to go through her phone, so I had to stop the experiment on her. But now recently, I've been involved in a somewhat of an experiment by a group of people, and I know who they are. I've recently gotten a hold of some software that allows me to lock down people's IP addresses, and not their address, but their IP address and their state and city that they're located in. You see, when you're in the media, you're gonna collect a host of people who don't like you. You're gonna collect a host of people that mess with you, but you're gonna also collect a host of people that don't like you. And there's always ways to protect yourself. Record everything, document everything, use videotapes. I recently installed a video recorder in my vehicle. That way I can get a whole 360-degree look. If somebody's messing with my car, keep your pistol, knife, pistol, whatever you choose to defend yourself. When you in the media, there are going to be forces that come against you that don't fool with you, and it's cool. But they have to understand that, being in the media, it's a different world over here. But back to the discussion about the emasculating of black men. This experiment that I just recently was involved in, it relied on a group of people that didn't even know me. Some kind of way they were giving my name, and they started attacking me on social media. And I can tell at first I was angry, and then I saw opportunity in this. I think it was a president that said, a bad situation, never let a bad situation go to waste. So I started experimenting with these people back. They was telling me, let it go, be silent, and the best defense is just don't say nothing. But I can tell that when you have that many people attacking you on social media, that's a concerted effort, okay? Understand how this is played. When you got that many people attacking you on social media, that's what you call a concerted effort. Whenever you have a concerted effort, that's a plot. Whenever you have a plot, the plotters have to communicate that plot. And when the plotters communicate that plot, that means there's text messages, there's phone calls, there's inboxing going on between the plotters. That means there's a record somewhere of these people communicating this plot. So the only defense against stuff like this is to protect yourself. So this is for all of the people that's in media. I like to talk about real life events that goes on with me. It gives a realization to a level of realization to my show that I love, even though my show is not as big as other people's talk show or show on iHeartRadio. When you come here, I'm gonna give you some good stuff. I'm gonna give you some real stuff. Like this actually it happened to me, like literally weeks ago, and some of it's still ongoing. So what I did, never let a bad situation, go to waste. So what I did, I started experimenting back with these people. I would lay off a couple of days and just watch my social media. And then I would say something about the situation that happened at my job, and it'll blow everybody up. I mean, they would get crazy, talking crazy to me, And then I started noticing it was more of the females that was coming at me on social media. So I tried another experiment. Because the emasculation of black men is a problem in this country. To try to emasculate a black man, because every race in this country, every race, Mexicans, whites, Chinese, Japanese, the Native Americans, the male is the father or the head of the household. When it comes to the black family, we, for some strange reason, keep trying to put our queens, like they are beautiful queens, I love the black woman, but we keep trying to emasculate black men. And like I said, now it's not just the white folks. You got blacks trying to emasculate black men, not just the women. You got black men jumped in on the bandwagon too, and trying to silence me, like, stop talking, don't say nothing. When you being attacked, or especially when you being attacked by stuff that's not true, you don't be silent, because your silence is letting people think out in public that don't know the situation that's going on that it's true. You got to stop that. You got to fight against that. There are ways to fight against emasculation. And like I said, I'm going to talk about some of those ways on the show. But I want to get back to this lady, because she said some things that I found fascinating. Listen to this.
Making a man subservient or in a feminine role. Now, I'm not crazy about some of those terms, but what I believe is that when women do certain things, we can unconsciously have a man feel that we're putting him down, that we're trying to control him, that we're overpowering him. And most of us are totally unaware when we do it. And then we wonder, why does he get so angry at us? Or why is he so defensive or shut down?
Now, as I said before, the whole situation went from a situation between three people at work. It spilled over to supporters of this woman and this guy at my job, supporters of them attacking me. Everything spilled over. Now, once they started attacking me on social media, like I said, at first I was angry, and then I started thinking, this is a concerted effort. But it's a concerted effort at emasculation. I started recognizing it for what it was. Because again, when you have a concerted effort with that many people that don't know you, somebody that knows you had to give them your name. Because like I said, the software I have, I can lock down IP addresses that doesn't give me your address, but it gives me the IP address which is attached to your address. Because anytime you send somebody a threatened text message, anytime you send somebody a picture, that message, that text had to come from an IP address. A phone, a computer, a laptop, a tablet. Each of these things has an IP address, and your IP address is attached to your regular address. Okay? So what happens is, once I see this stuff, I'm looking at the places where these people are attacking me from, and I'm saying to myself, these people don't know me. But everybody that does know me, they're not saying nothing. They're quiet as a church mouse about the whole situation. So that means, like I said, if it's a concerted effort, there's a plot. If it's a plot, there's plotters plotting that plot. And if plotters are plotting that plot, there has to be communication amongst the plotters. People need to be aware of this stuff, especially if you're going to be in media. You have to protect yourself from these people. I'm going to go into further detail on what this woman says about how men are being emasculated by women. And I'm going to go further into detail of how I slowly put a stop to it.
So a common example of this is when a man is driving with his woman, his significant other, and he turns left to get on the highway to go to the store. And she says, "Hey, wait a minute, why are you taking the highway? You're going the wrong way. The back roads are faster. It's a better way." So you see what she did here is she's making him wrong and she's making herself right. And this can lead to a big fight. "But I was just trying to help," she says. But in her trying to help, she's subconsciously trying to control what he does. She's not happy that he turned left and wanted to go his way. And so he feels emasculated because he now believes he can't do anything right in her eyes. So why even bother? Because this is the kind of behavior that can lead to the fracturing of a lot of relationships.
Now, the fracturing of the relationship doesn't necessarily mean just boyfriend and girlfriend, husband and wife. It can mean just regular friendships. It can cause a fracture when you have a group of people, especially women, and then you add on a few hanger-on guys. You add a couple of them on into the mix, because you're always going to have those guys that, if they feel like a women are going against a guy, they're going to jump to their defense and help them. You always going to have them type of dudes. But my thing is, when you in situations where you have a mob of people and the vast majority of them are women and you're a man, some people say you can't win. I beg to differ. You can. You can win. Number one, stand up. Let them know you ain't having it. Regardless of what they say, you're not having it. I had one woman tell me that, how can I raise two daughters and treat women like garbage? She's crazy. This woman doesn't even know me. Never met me a day in her life. Never. She's never met me a day in her life. Somebody told her something about me, and she starts attacking me, not even knowing nothing what's going on, don't know the situation, don't know nothing. This is what you call the leading to the emasculation of the black man. It happens. It's been happening. And some of our black people are continuing on the traditions of it. Now, in this video, this woman is going to explain 10 ways that people try to emasculate men. And I'm going to let this play. Then after this, we're going to go into our first commercial break, because I want to talk about how the government started doing experiments on people, and it's something similar to this.
Number one, withholding respect or kindness to motivate him to do better. So, just trying to be a little harsh or mean in order to motivate him to do better, that's not how you're going to get him to do better. Is to keep repeating how childish he is. I don't know about you, but when I was married, a lot of women would say, oh, my husband's like one of the kids. So if you've ever heard that or said that, it's not going to have a man rise up to his best self, right? He is complain about his job or his salary. One of the worst things we can do is to tell a man he's not working hard enough, or he's not making enough money, or his job is beneath him, even if it is. Number 4 is when we mistrust his ability to handle things on his own. So that goes for the diaper bag or the driving or anything that we want him to rise up and do. And 5, we ask him for help, and then we tell him he's doing it wrong. So pretty much the same kind of examples. We nag him or we boss him around. The way to get a person to be motivated is not through nagging and repeating. It's actually through telling him what the benefit is to you. Number 7, she treats him like he's a Neanderthal without any feelings. How many times do we feel that men they just don't know any better? And he's like a Neanderthal, right? She compares him to her exes. Anytime a woman compares a man to her ex, or says, he's better look, that guy was better looking, or, talks about sex and how it was different with this guy, not good. And she offers him unsolicited advice. Nobody should be giving unsolicited advice. If you didn't ask, you don't tell. And so when we give unsolicited advice, we're basically telling the other person, I don't really trust you to know this on your own. Number 10, she criticizes how he spends his downtime. Maybe he wants to go hang out with the guys. Maybe he wants to relax with a beer. And she says it's not good. He should not drink so many beers, and he's not getting enough exercise, and he shouldn't be sitting on the couch.
Now, this woman is she's a therapist, and I think she's I'm gonna put the link to her videos in the description below. But I think she's a marriage coach and a relationship coach, and everything she's saying rings true, and it fits in to exactly what's going on in America today when it comes down to the emasculating of black men. This is a problem. This is a serious problem. We are we're the only race of people in this country that have placed black women at the forefront of our families and our household and everything that's going on around us. Mainly it's because of the white population that did this over the last 366 years. But a lot of us are waking up to this, and we seeing the progress that other nationalities, other races are having in this country. And the men are leading the way in those races, in those nationalities. And we are steadily falling behind. Until you see a black male starts messing with Mexican women, white women, and then, it shouldn't be like that. It shouldn't have to be like that. But the reason it is like that, because in those races of people that black man might choose to involve himself with, he will be considered the head of his household, of their marriage, of their even when they're boyfriend and girlfriend in a relationship. So I'm finna get into this first commercial break, and when we come back, I'm gonna go into ways you can stop people from trying to emasculate you. We'll be back.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
Damn, fool.
Money Making Biz presents Damn Fool.
Damn, fool.
Starring Silent Marco. West of the Mississippi, aka Black Clouds. East of the Mississippi, aka Chief Dreads. In Texas, Black Indio. In North Carolina, sweet Jesus, you've been everywhere. How many aliases you got? Anyway, co-starring anyone he can get before a camera.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
Psychic driving was a psychiatric procedure of the 1950s and 1960s in which patients were subjected to a continuously repeated audio message on a loop tape to alter their behavior. In psychic driving, patients were often exposed to hundreds of thousands of repetitions of a single statement over the course of their treatment. They were also concurrently administered muscular paralytic drugs such as curare to subdue them for the purposes of exposure to the loop message.
Loop message, people. Psychic driving. This is what I'm saying when I tell you that the recent incidents I've been involved with on social media with these people that was attacking me. This is called psychic driving. The continuous message of let it go. The continuous message of they don't want you no more. The continuous message of, why are you doing this? This is psychotherapy. This is stuff that sharp minds put this together. I think I know who put this together. They ain't said nothing, but I think I know. I have some very intelligent people that I know that's around me. Organized, very highly intelligent people, and I recognize this. Like I said, when it first went down, like I said, it started from an incident at work, but it moved into social media with a group of people that I've never met before in my life that don't even know me. If they sat down and actually met me, they'd be like, nah, that ain't his character. If they actually sat down and met me, they would say, nah, that ain't his character. He don't move like that. If he did something crazy, somebody provoked him. That's what they would say if they actually sat down and met me. So the whole psychic driving is something powerful that psychologists use, or the American government started to use this on patients trying to create truth serums. And again, it goes all the way back to the emasculating of a man, of men, trying to make him accept something that he's not finna accept. Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example of what I mean. Say you got a young man, he goes in the store, his friend steals something. He doesn't say nothing. They go outside, his friend takes off running. The store owner comes out and says, hey man, I seen you steal that. He said, man, I ain't steal nothing. Some more people crowd around. They say, hey man, it's cool. He ain't gonna take you to jail. Just admit that you stole it. And he like, man, I didn't steal nothing. I'm not admitting to it. I didn't steal shit. Get out my face. This is what you call psychic driving. When people continuously in a loop try to accuse you of something that you didn't do or they have inaccurate. This is called psychic driving. They're trying to force you to accept something you're not going to accept, especially if you didn't do it. I'm hoping my people in my audience that follows my show can understand what I'm telling you. This is good. I love it. You know what I'm saying? When I did that experiment on that young lady and the narcissist, I had no problem with it. So I have no problem with them trying to experiment on me. I caught on to it. Like I said, at first I was mad, but then I was like, let me test the waters a little bit here. I threw some stuff out there. People got mad. Oh my God. People got hot under the collar. Then I started separating the women from the men. Now let me explain how I separated the men from the women that was attacking me on social media. Whenever a woman would attack me, I would block her. That way she can't attack me no more. I cut her out. So after a while, I blocked 10 to 15 different women that was attacking me. Most of these women don't even know me. Never met me a day in their life. But like I said, when you got a plot, you got plotters. And when you got plotters, they're communicating this plot. Okay, so now you got mostly the guys who was coming at me. But you can tell immediately once I started cutting these women, the men really didn't want to be involved in this. You can tell the difference in my social media when I started cutting all of these women who were trying to emasculate a black man, which is me. You can see the difference because the men, they were sticking to the message because it was a message. They were sticking to the message, but you can tell some of these guys is not trying to emasculate another black man. Now it was one or two of them that was really going hard. You know, you can really see the bullshit with them. But those guys, I really feel like they already been emasculated. So I didn't even pay them no mind. You know, I blocked them just like I blocked the women. I didn't pay them no mind. But you can tell it was some men on my social media that was basically down with it, but they wasn't trying to emasculate. There's a difference. They had some experiments. That I'm gonna talk about later on in the show. I think it was called MK Ultra. But I want you to hear ways that you can fight back against this.
Emasculating to men, and then there's a way to say things that feels like it can build a man up. So let's talk about those 5 ways to stop emasculating men and to create the healthy relationship that you want. So the first thing you want to do is stop trying to control. You want to trust that your guy is going to figure out things his way. His way doesn't have to be your way.
Remember, people. Remember what I was saying. When the kid comes out the store and he's accused of something, and he's like, no, I'm not. I didn't steal nothing. Basically, what he's trying to tell you is, people will try to psychic drive a point to you to make you believe that point yourself. This is some real psychology stuff. This had to come from the upper echelons of intelligent people that I've known, I don't have a relationship with some of these people. We're associates, we're not friends. I'll have very few friends now involved in my circle. I have associates. But this didn't come from no peons. This didn't come, I count myself as an intelligent person. This didn't come from no peons. This didn't come from half the people that were psychic driving at me probably didn't even know the whole details of what was happening. Understand what I'm saying? And my camera's going out. But understand what I'm saying. Some of these people who was in on this, I don't think they understood what was going on. They just jumped in it. They were like sheep. They smelled blood in the water, like sharks, and they just jumped in it. But the emasculating of black men in this country is a problem. And we have started to continue on with this problem even after the white folks showed us what they would do to us. We're continuing on with this. Let's go on to the next one.
Number 2, look for the best in him. When you're consistently criticizing his job, the way he drives, the way he does anything, he's going to feel defeated and shut down.
Now, like I said, all of this goes back to psychic driving. When a group of people or a person is trying to psychic drive you, they're trying to push you towards an outcome that they want, that's more appeasing to them. That's a problem. That's a serious problem. Let's finish these up because I want to get into MK Ultra.
Don't give unsolicited advice. Check in before advising him or anybody else about anything. A simple check-in. Number 4, if you ask for help, accept how he supports you in his way. Otherwise, he's not going to offer to help again. And number 5, be direct instead of nagging, bossing, indirect, sarcasm. Tell him what you want and need, and then give him the space to provide it for you.
That last one, what she said, be direct. Be direct. If you feel like there's a problem, instead of trying to emasculate a person indirectly with, slick videos and slick clips, be direct. Pick up the phone. Inbox a man. Be like, hey man, what's going on? That's it. Be direct. And see, this goes back to ways, like I said, you can fight this when people try to psychic direct you. Be prepared, because not everybody is for you. Not everybody's going to like you. They're not. I'm cool with that. But don't try to ruin what I've built up on social media with my show, which is another reason why I fight so hard for my reputation, regardless of whether you like it or not. If R. Kelly got out of jail right now, for some kind of humbug, hung jury, or they made a mistake and they go back and let him out, he's always going to be known as a pedophile. So what happens is, when somebody try to label you something and you know that you're not, you fight that. You don't be quiet. You don't be silent. Fuck that. You let them know, man, I'm not that. Fuck you. Get out my face. Go on about your business. Have a nice day. Keep it moving. That's how you do. That's how you handle that. That's how you keep from being emasculated by people. You never let people drag you off into the darkness and get rid of you. You drag them out into the light and expose them and let them know you the bogus one. You bogus, not me. You the bogus one. That's how you do that. You fight against this crap. You know, like I said, the only thing that can stop the software that I got is a VPN. This is another way to protect yourself. You see, VPNs are good for bouncing your IP address all over the world. It makes it look like you're in China attacking somebody. But the thing about a VPN, if you start using a VPN, when it comes to the law, that goes to it's a terminology called intent. Intent. If your intent is not nefarious, you wouldn't use a VPN. If you attack somebody or say something slick to somebody and they capture your IP address, your state and your city that you're living in, and then you say, okay, this is what he's using, so I'm finna use a VPN to mask my location. That shows intent. I'm giving you the game because see, some of y'all trying to play with this media and social media when I've been 3 years into this. So to y'all to some of y'all that's coming at me, y'all amateurs with this stuff. You know, I'm supposed to be teaching one of my partners, one of my brothers, Joe Godley. He's supposed to be starting his podcast, and I'm gonna show him the game with this stuff. You know, there's software out here. Some of it's expensive. Some of this software can give you the actual address of these people. That's too expensive for me. You're looking at $200 to $300. I went and bought a $15 software that will allow me, if somebody was to send me a picture, it would have the IP address attached to it. Literally, it would have their IP address attached to that. That way, if anything happened, guess what? The police can track that IP address. You see, that's how and that's what I mean. When you got a group of people who's coordinated like that coming at you, you don't tussle with these people in the darkness. You pull them out into the light. Show them how immoral and bogus they are. That's how you do that. You pull them out into the light. And I don't care what people say about you. You handle your business. We finna get into this last commercial break, and when we come back, we're gonna talk about this MK Ultra and how American government was experimenting on people, and some of these people I think are military, because this is some stuff straight out of the playbook that I've just experienced over the last month. This is some stuff straight out the playbook of MK Ultra. We'll be back.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
The goal remained the same. As this 1952 CIA memo says, the aim is controlling an individual to the point where he will do our bidding against his will, and even against such fundamental laws of nature as self-preservation.
It was the borderline underworld, prostitutes, drug addicts, and other small-timers who would be powerless to seek any kind of revenge in case they found out. We learned a lot about human nature in the bedroom. We started to pick up knowledge that could be used in operations.
There would be victims in all of this, but as the agency knew, they couldn't fight back. Some entries from George White's diaries. Clarice gets horrors. Janet, sky high.
This is a video from a television broadcast that I saw that I found very interesting. And the reason I found this very interesting about MK Ultra and the whole experimentation they did, they was trying to find a truth serum. But the CIA was also using prostitutes and women who were selling themselves to basically slip men drugs that were foreigners to get them to give up government secrets. And they've been trying their best for decades. That's why I said this whole incident that I went through for the last month with these people that was attacking me on social media, saying all kinds of crazy stuff, sending me all kinds of memes and short clip videos, you know, you could, and everybody was on message. They was on message, like the same shit they were saying. And when you dealing with something like this is organized. This is organized. It's just lucky. It's a wonder why nobody got into some serious street shit. Because I keep my toolie on me. I keep it. Because you never know who might try to come at you and try to hurt you. Especially when you get into media and you start talking about people like Donald Trump, who has a whole bunch of sycophants running around. Or when you get into it with a bunch of black soccer moms who got a whole bunch of little nephews, little Pookie and Ray Ray running around. You never know what's going to happen. So when you got that many people coming at you, you got to protect yourself. Whether it's using your toolie or using software to trap these people, block them. However you got to do it, you got to defend yourself. But even the government. When I'm dealing with the government now, when I get stopped, I have, and I got this from my truck. I got a truck that has camera on the outside and on the inside, and I got this for my vehicle now. So when I pull up, it's recording. Everything's being recorded. You know, 360-degree angle. Somebody walk up, slash your tires, they on tape. You know, you outside your car, you chilling, somebody come up and start arguing with you, they on tape. That's how you got to do this. You can't play with these people in the dark. You got to drag them out into the light and let people know they the ones bogus. I ain't did nothing to nobody. You know, don't care what they think about me. Never did. And this is the key. This is some real crazy stuff right here. Like, some people care more that you care than you even care. I'm going to repeat that one more time so y'all can catch that. Some people care more about you caring than you even care. But they don't know that because they're just following along behind somebody telling them to do something. Think about that. Some people care more about you caring than you actually even care. That's strange. You know, I was telling my old lady, I was telling my girlfriend, I was like, you know, these some strange individuals. Can't nobody call me up out the clear blue sky and say, hey man, I'm gonna give you this guy's Facebook page, his social media, and I want you to attack him and talk crazy to him. First thing, man, I don't know that guy. For all I know, you could just be fucking with him. That's the first thing I'm gonna do. I'm gonna be like, man, I don't know dude from Adam. Never met him. You're not finna get me to mess with nobody, period, like that. You see, because I'm not finna emasculate nobody. I'm not finna even try that because I don't want it done to me. I'm gonna get into this next clip. This MK Ultra was an experimentation that had a lot of psychological effect on people.
Former CIA official who worked in the safe houses reveals that they were used not only for drug testing, but to study sexual behavior and how it could be used to manipulate people.
We did quite a study of prostitutes and their behavior. How do you take a woman who is willing to use her body to get money out of a guy to get him to talk about things which are much more important, like state secrets?
You know, like I said, this goes back to the whole thing. A woman. They used a woman to basically wean their way in to get state secrets. The people that was attacking me, they used the women as the hammer to attack. And I experimented on this because once I started chopping their head off, cutting them off, the attack started lessening up. I noticed that. Like I said, you to defend yourself, sometimes you have to record and document this stuff. You know, I got a list around here, all the people that attacked me. And I started looking at some of these people and I'm like, I don't even know these people. They don't even know me. Never met me a day in their life. This was a coordinated effort. Coordinated. And I expect that. You know, I told my viewers, and this is for my people on iHeartRadio that can go back to my old shows. I told you guys a long time ago, when I got into media, I knew I was going to have some enemies. I knew it. I just didn't think it was going to come from the black community. I never seen that coming. That hit me out of left field. But it's cool though. Like you say, you ain't for everybody. Everybody's not going to like you, and I'm cool with that. Because you can't stop something that's refused to be stopped by you. You know, the only thing you can do is put a man in the ground. And when you put me in the ground, it's going to be consequence behind that too. That's all you got to do. You got to make sure that when you drag people out into the light that's been dealing in the darkness, you make sure you let them know I ain't the one to play with. That's how you got to do that. I'm going to get into this last clip, because this old man said some real deep stuff.
The counter case that I would make in relationship to that is to remember that the people who were doing the research were people who would be doing the research regardless of who was the sponsor. I don't think anybody working in that time in the remotest ever thought that it would blow up into the kind of thing that it did.
And that's the thing about attacking people you don't know. Basically what he's saying is these people who was with it that came at me on social media, he basically, just like in MK Ultra, just like in that CIA experiment, nobody ever knew that it would get crazy. And it could have got deadly. Like, it literally could have got deadly. That's and that's how, you know, when you play with people's lives like that, you never know what happened. You rolling the dice. That's why I could never do something like that. A person couldn't call me up and tell me to attack somebody, you know, verbally or none of that, without me knowing what's going on. It's not finna happen. That goes back to your morals, your ethics. But this is the Daily Read, and I hope y'all learned something. I'm gonna leave the description of some of these videos in the description box below. You guys have a good weekend. I'm out.
The business, motherfucker.
The Daily Read.
Bringing the business.